Welcome to our first episode of Get the Word Out. I am with my friend Cara Rothrock. She is a real live public school teacher. She teaches third grade. She's also, I'm realizing, one of my new heroes. She's really incredible, all that she does for society and the community. So buckle up. Let's find out what is it actually like in the trenches being a public school teacher for the last 20 years while public education is being attacked from the inside. So let's get to it. And then I'm with Scott Aaron Rogers. Scott, take it for a second.
Hey there, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome here to Project Next's Get the Word Out. Love to have you.
And
like that theme song there.
Thank you, Chris Blessing. He raps in it and he has lyrics and stuff. My favorite one is mobbing in the streets to get the word out. Pretty cute. Thanks. Thank you, Chris. All right, let's go to, if anybody's with us, you can tell us in the comments. Thanks for being on. And let's see. Okay, so Cara, I know you a little bit. We're Facebook friends. I think we became Facebook friends when we worked together at the COVID clinic.
Yes.
We helped administer COVID shots at IUS. It was like a volunteer thing.
2020, yeah.
COVID. We mainly saw each other in masks.
Right.
I remember eventually we started
it was
eating.
cold. It was like December, January, and we had our hats and our gloves and bundled up.
I remember one time when it was cold and pouring down rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I met
outdoor clinics.
I met a lot of amazing people. That was my favorite thing about doing that.
Yes.
So I got to meet you, and then my husband already knew you because you guys went to Floyd Central together.
Yes.
What year did you all graduate?
1996.
I'm a 99.
Coming up on our 30th.
FC grad. That's cute.
Yeah.
So that's neat. So Cara teaches. You want to tell us about you? You teach third grade?
I teach third grade in New Albany. I've been there for about 8 years. Before that, I taught at Lanesville for 3 years. And prior to that, I taught in Greater Clark for 11 years. And that's about that. About 24 years.
What made you first get involved? Not only is she a teacher, but she's really tracking the bills in Indiana that are being passed to attack public education. We've talked about them a few times on the show already. What made you start getting involved, if you remember?
Always been drawn to. I was a political science major in college
before
I actually had I went into education instead. I kind of did a 180 and decided I wanted to be a teacher. And so I've always just had an interest in that and how our government works. And I always feel like if I'm doing something like public school teaching and other people are in control or in charge, like our legislators, I need to have my say too, because I'm the one in the trenches. I've always felt like that. I can't complain unless I do something about it.
Right. Yeah. No sense in just sitting back and complaining about your job. Why don't you voice it to the people that are and have the power over your job?
Yes.
I spoke on another show I did when I first student taught. It was 2003, I think. And I taught sixth grade, a student teacher at Mount Tabor Elementary. And it was great. There were so many public services given to the schools. There were a lot of special needs kids. There were a lot of aides. There was a lot of assistance. There was a lot of help. There was a lot of support for the teachers. And then since then, I've just kind of watched it slowly being stripped away. Take aid here, take some money here, class size, get bigger here, do this. It was just, and then we get to today when the people that have done that to us are saying, oh, shocker, public education's not so great anymore. We should give all our money to charter and private schools. And it's like, wait a minute, you did this. You did the dismantling. No. And 90% of our children attend public schools in Indiana.
Yes. And more and more of the vouchers have taken the money and pulled money away. They're getting the higher percentage of the budget than the increase in the public schools are. And interesting enough, I mean, everyone pays taxes. That's what pays the vouchers. But yet there are families in our state that don't have a public or a private school or a charter school anywhere that they can get to, hours away, but yet their tax money is going away, being sucked out of their public school. And then these vouchers. So that's disheartening.
I taught 18 years at a Catholic school. And let me just tell you, I did not realize what was happening. I realized vouchers were helping our school. We were getting more kids because of the vouchers. I was told school choice. I did not fully understand how much it was hurting public schools. I just thought, yeah, kids should get to choose. Parents should get to choose.
Yeah.
We'll do what this is going to be help. I didn't realize that it was pulling it from the public education and how much it was hurting until I got out.
Yeah.
I did not know. And now a lot of people that attend these private charter religious schools, a lot of these people know and they don't want it. They're like, stop hurting children that can't attend these schools. We can pay because the vouchers support. Do you know the number? It's like you can make over 200,000.
It's 235, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's right around.
So a household can make $235,000 in Indiana and get a free voucher to attend a charter religious private school. People that are making $235,000 can definitely afford the tuition, which is anywhere from maybe 5,000 to 15,000 or whatever a year. It shouldn't be stripping of the public school money.
Well,
and
go ahead.
It's also my understanding that the Braun administration wants to expand the voucher availability to everybody, even the people making over that income cap.
Yes. So they want to take away the money completely. When it first started, it was more like reasonable. It was like 50,000 or less, and then they just kept expanding it.
Well, in Indiana, they sold it. They sold it as a scam. It was, to help the minority children, to help the children in poverty. And Indy Star did a great article, two-section article, a few months ago, and they did a lot of research, and they found out that the people almost everyone taking advantage of these vouchers were the people who would have gone to private school anyway. They were,
that's what happened at my school.
I mean,
it was mostly kids that already attended our school now getting to attend for free. So it was just like parents are like, oh, I don't have to pay tuition. Sure. I'll fill out this form. Yeah.
And it's always sold too into the guise of competition, but it's hard to compete when your hands are tied behind your back. Briefly before we started, I was talking to Sarah about all of the red tape and the just the legislation that we have to follow as a public school, just dotting every I, crossing every T. I know when I was at Lanesville and we knew the bookkeeper and she was in there every day. I remember one time she had 1 penny. She couldn't find 1 penny, and she has to report the audit to the state, on a regular basis. And if you're 1 penny off, like if 1 penny is not accounted for, hours and hours of work to find that penny. And I'm being serious when I say penny,
I believe
not exaggerating, where there is no red tape for a private school or voucher.
I'm on the other side, taught 5th grade for 18 years at a Catholic school. We did not have that. And that's why I liked working there, Cara. I had so much freedom. I could pick what textbooks I wanted. I could decide what chapter books I wanted to read. I just had to teach the standards, but I could decide how I wanted to teach them. And that's why I chose to be interviewed at those schools, because I knew we had more freedom. I think the public schools should have more freedom, should be less dictated by people that don't understand education.
Yes.
And I always had friends that were public school teachers, and I would say, you have to do what? Well, you can't pick what book you want. And I'd be like horrified for you all.
Well, even speaking of that, I'm in the committee to pick the curriculum, our new ELA curriculum.
What's ELA?
English Language Arts.
Okay.
So our reading program, and the state, with that reading bill they passed last year, has really dictated what the DOE is, exactly what programs are vetted. We had a program before that our school system really liked it, but it was a newer program. And so now they only gave us like 5 choices. Here's your 5 programs to pick from. Before, we had endless programs. Any program in the country, you could, have them come in, your rep could show you what it was about. And so you could pick the most innovative or
but now
it's like it has to be, one of the stipulations is the program has to be vetted for so many years. And so I feel like when I looked through these choices for curriculum, it was going back 20 years when I remember teaching when I first started.
So
these are
it's nice that you've been a seasoned teacher. You've been here for
Yeah.
a while, so you've just seen it progressively get harder and harder,
Yes.
worse, more laws, more restrictions on you and what you can do as the trained college
Oh, yes.
educated teacher. They're not trusting you, and people that don't have experience in education are telling you what to do
All the time.
all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
For both
And
of you, there
Right.
is a science to teaching that you
Right.
study when you're in
Right.
education school.
Yes.
They
Yes.
call pedagogy. Is that, am I saying it right?
Pedagogy. Yeah,
Yep.
pedagogy. Yep.
Pedagogy. Thank
Good
you.
job.
I've always wondered when I see it.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, yes. You're so great, Scott. So yeah, they do. And we also know what works and what doesn't work in the classroom. And so
Yeah.
when we're told do it this way and you know that way is not the best way, it's incredibly infuriating and you just feel like such a lack of control in your own life and your own profession where you are the expert. You should be the trusted one.
Yeah.
So they do this by spreading fear and misinformation
Oh,
about public education
sure.
and about teachers. It's very easy to do because children are the things we want to protect the most.
Yeah.
So you say a fake thing, and we've talked about it in other episodes, like litter boxes in the classroom or whatever.
Yeah.
You say a fake thing, and people run with it, and then they're like, "Well, burn the classes to the ground, burn the schools to the ground." Well, it's like, well, that's not true, and it's hard to constantly go after all of the misinformation with public schools, but that's why I wanted to have Cara on. Let's go ahead and talk about the bad bills. So these bills are in the State House right now, and they're going through committees, and then a handful of them are going to be picked and turned into law. And we know some of these they're going to try to pass into law. Even though there's like 1,000 bills being made, about 10% of them will turn into law. They're going to try to pass. These are the high end ones. They're going to try to pass these. Like it's big. So it's not like the township trustee one we talked about, the firehouse one. I don't think that one's going to pass. I've heard people are mad about that one. We don't have to worry about that one anymore, but we need to worry about public education. So let's go into the first one, the Mad Voters one. Pull that up, Scott.
I've got several Mad Voters ones. Do you want
the
1002 or do you want 1136?
The two.
All right.
1002.
1002. Yeah.
There we are.
Okay. So here's 1002, and this is, if you're not following Mad Voters and you care about public education, this is a really great resource for you. They're on all of the main social media platforms. You can also go to their website and sign up for their newsletter. But Mad Voters volunteers spends hours and hours tracking the laws and the bills so that we can shine a light on the really bad ones and try to stop them. So this is a really bad one. It's House bill. That's what HB means. 1002, is that how we're calling it? Okay, so it eliminates school programs, services, and requirements. It removes requirements that Indiana Secretary of Education have educational experience, live in Indiana, or have a college degree. So we already touched on this earlier. They want someone in charge that is not an education specialist dictating to all the specialists what they should do. And that would be terrible. And they've already done this somewhat at the state level.
I mean, it used to be the Secretary of Education was an elected position that the voters elected. And so back a few years ago when the voters elected Glenda Ritz, who was a former school educator, that did not make the Republican Party very happy. And after that, they passed a bill that now it was appointed by the governor. And so now they're removing any qualifications.
They want to just pick whoever their friend is. I guess
think that's what it sounds like.
Whoever they can tell what to do.
Sounds like they have somebody earmarked
that doesn't have any of these requirements.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make sure it's our.
So again, it's that whole plan of let's dismantle education, let's get into positions of power of education, and let's pull out the plugs. Let's take an axe to everything, and this is just the actual laws doing that. And then it also
it's anti-science, it's anti-expertise.
Yes.
It's a way for the supermajority to inject their worldview into the education system without any checks.
Yes.
Right. And then it guts rights and responsibilities to the school board of education and local elected school boards and removes offices on the board. So they want to dismantle local power over our public education. And it allows charter schools to open without submitting a statement of economic interest, reduces oversight of charters, and repeals language prohibiting discrimination. So that one was really scary to me.
That's scary to me.
So we already have scam charter schools in Indiana taking millions of our dollars. They open up a school, they name it something, they say they're going to have 100 students, but there's 10. They close it down a few months later. They keep all the money. They sell the building. They keep the profit from the building, and that's all our taxpayer money. None of it goes back to schools.
And there's a law on the books that's been there for a long time, several years, that if a school building, like for instance, New Albany, Floyd County has 16 buildings that are a corporation. If one of them sits empty for a certain amount of time, they cannot sell. They have to sell that to the charter. They have to sell it to a charter school for $1. Did you realize that? So they will get the building for $1 and then turn around and sell it for $500,000. I mean, that's the
have
whole
proof
point
of
of an
this.
open.
So we have proof of this happening, but it's done in other states. I believe Arizona can do this too, and they just copy and paste the bad bills with the bad loopholes in them.
Yeah.
And then these people that have a lot of money know how to do it. They go in and they start the school with the whole plan of just making a bunch of money off of tax dollars.
Yes.
Yeah. So we would like that to stop. We would like a bill that stops that, and we would like the money to go back to public education, where 90% of our children attend Indiana's public schools. So anybody want to make that bill? Could we get a bipartisan agreement? I'm pretty sure all political parties actually support our public kids getting good education. I wish that they would do bills that would actually help us instead of just continuously hurt us.
Right.
Yeah. And then what else do we have here? Removes requirements that schools must provide transportation. So is this like we don't have to have buses anymore?
Right. No busing.
I did not know this.
That can really harm a kid. I teach in a lower socioeconomic, high poverty Title I school. And I mean, I have many parents in my classrooms who do not have a car, they walk to work nearby places, the McDonald's down the street, and taking away and if the children, for instance, miss the bus, they don't go to school that day. Like, I mean, it's
we should not be making it harder for children to get an education, and we should
Right.
these are the kids we should be helping the most.
right.
It seems like we like to favor rich people's kids over parents that struggle. What do you think?
Yeah,
I mean, the
definitely.
picture of it
Yeah.
seems that
They want a certain percentage of the population to be undereducated and vulnerable and desperate for whatever kinds of crappy jobs they want to
yes,
offer.
Mhm.
they want those people to work in the bad jobs that they run. Yes, you're so right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Removes consideration of cultural competency in developing school environment. I don't know what that means. Do you?
Let's see. Removes consideration of
Cultural competency in developing school environment. It's got to have something to do with
So, like, if you have a classroom, I think what they're saying is if you have a classroom where, say, you have a lot of like you said, underprivileged, or maybe you have a certain like minority group, maybe you're in a predominantly Black or predominantly Latino neighborhood, like, hey, you should have to know the culture of the people who are you trying to educate.
So now it's saying you don't need to know anything. That makes sense. Yeah, that tracks. That sounds pretty terrible. This one sounds really horrible as a former social studies teacher.
Yes.
Removes world religions as a course elective. I think we can safely say they have one religion they want to push on, and I don't think we should be promoting religion. We should just be teaching
Right.
in the public schools.
I mean, I remember learning the major world religions back in, geography.
It's kind of important because
seventh
there's
grade.
a few really huge ones that make up
Right.
the
If
whole
you
world.
don't understand the Muslim religion or Islam, or you don't understand Buddhism, then how do you understand the world on its stage? I mean, how do you because
it definitely plays a big part in history.
Yeah.
History and
And
current
they
events.
want to
and who controls a country
Yeah.
and why we shouldn't have religion in our government. That's a big part with that story. Like we shouldn't force
for all
people.
the talk, about how
Just
some
look
of us
at
on the left here are
like-
groomers. They're trying to groom children into their very narrow
what
far
religion
right
they want. And
evangelical Christian
I
worldview.
just think we
Yeah.
should let our kids be educated safely, and we should not force something on them in a public school.
Right. Either
So,
way.
and I guess it seems like it's just from such a fear place of they're so scared of other people's religions. That's what it sounds like to me. Remove summer school options. So, those kids that need extra help during the summer need to be caught up. Maybe they're struggling with reading or math, essential skills. They don't get to get caught up during the summer.
Interesting as a third grade teacher, and I don't know how that law would. So the new Indiana reading law that was passed last year, all third graders who don't pass the iRead test this year are going to be retained into third
That's
grade.
a law?
That's a law. And they do have a summer school that if they don't pass the first time, the first window is in March. And then if they don't pass, they can take it again and I think the window opens like mid-May or end of May to June, like through June. And we always do summer school intensive with those kids. And then they retake the test at the end. That's their chance to pass third grade before they go on.
So if they fail that, can they go to summer school?
They can go to summer school.
And then if they
have to go, we tell them they have to go to summer school because they need to retake the test and hopefully go on to fourth grade.
Yeah, because third grade is a really important grade where we do a lot of testing for can they read?
Yeah.
Can they read in third grade? So it kind of goes against their previous hard stance, right? It seems, I know they used to.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like that they dictated summer school and having that option to retake the test in the summer.
And now they're saying, let's just get rid of
summer school options. Yeah.
It sounds like they're setting people up to fail so that
we're
they
doing
can
away with
defund
that
these
second
schools
chance.
further next time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't even think it's a law that they have to go to kindergarten.
No, I don't think it is either.
I think and that seems terrible. We should be requiring kindergarten, especially if we're requiring that they can read in third grade.
Right.
And we should also have, like, in my opinion, we should have government funded preschool.
Oh,
because I had to pay for preschool for my twins.
Yeah.
And that's hard on some families, can't afford that. I know if you're really low income in Harrison County, Blue River Services will pay for your preschool, but I looked into it and it's very low. Yeah. So if you're in that pocket where it's hard to pay rent and pay your bills, but you're not low enough, you're having to pay for preschool.
Yeah.
Okay, this is fun, huh? So fun.
I know.
Allows students to drop out at 16 because we all know 16-year-olds are fully aware and capable.
I have a 16-year-old at home, just turned 16 in December. I mean, I can't imagine.
You want them to have that power?
No.
Again, they need them to work in the meat packing plants
and that's what I
wherever
think is
else.
happening.
Yeah.
They did change the law last year where you could be they like changed the work hours for minors so they could be working way more. So this would help them. If a 16-year-old drops out, then they can work way long time for them at a low paying job.
Exploitable labor. Yep.
Yeah. And then that's again with the diploma, they have changed the diploma from the and they really wanted to push, and they still did, all these internship hours or like
I know and it's like that's just another way for them to get free labor.
It was free labor. To me, it's free labor. And when you're in elementary and high school in the United States, that is the only time that you really get to reach kids and teach them, like, history, and you get to learn how politics or the government works, or that you can learn math. I mean, it's your only opportunity because a lot of people can't afford college, and so you're taking it away and making them go work at Starbucks or McDonald's.
Stick a pin in the history and civics. We'll come back to that.
Long life ahead of them of working. Why are we rushing it? Why are we rushing our children to grow up and pushing them out the door to work bad jobs?
I don't know, because until you're 18 years old, that is when a lot of people have their only chance at education.
They're forcibly removing all the people who already are doing the bad jobs from the country.
We don't have great laws in Indiana to support workers. We have a lot of laws to support the business owners, like landowner, we don't support the renters. We support the landlords. We really go after people that are struggling in Indiana. And it seems like they're doing that here in education
with
too.
With
children that we're supposed to be protecting and providing a public education that's quality. I got a quality public education in Indiana. You did too.
I got a great.
I learned a lot. Yeah. I went through public my whole time. I had to pay for IU, but it was cheaper, and I got a great education. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Removes requirement that eligible students receive free and reduced lunch forms. Yeah, let's just attack the kids that are struggling some more. Let's
see.
Make them have to pay for their lunch.
So that's an interesting one, and I don't know exactly what that means because it says removes the requirement they fill out the eligible students fill out forms. So, just for instance, this happened in our school this year. We actually at our school, because it's Title I, we actually get all of our kids get free free lunch,
great.
which is
Wonderful.
amazing. Like at COVID, everybody had it. And
I saw that in COVID.
You know, and then afterwards, most schools lost that. But
we get free breakfast, but not lunch.
We get free breakfast and lunch. And what happened? So the first year that happened, a lot of parents didn't fill out because textbooks are now free.
Oh yes, but that hurts. But that hurts because they don't give enough money.
They don't give enough money for the state,
and you're not allowed to like supplement.
The district has to pick up the slack now. So that hurt, but overall for parents, it was great. No textbook fees. It's true free public education. Your kid's not paying for lunch. Your kid's not paying for textbooks. But because our school didn't fill out, because a lot of our parents decided not to fill out the forms before, they always filled out the forms to get that extra money for Title I.
They didn't need to.
They didn't feel like they need to. And then we lost a lot of our Title I funding this year at our school.
Wow.
So this year at open house and registration, we were like dogs to the bone. Like we went after those forms because we lost the funding last year. We told parents like, hey, we need you to fill these out. I know it doesn't really matter to you because you're getting free textbooks, you're getting the free lunch, but it helps our school get money. And they did. They were very willing to fill them out. But that's why I wonder why that's in there. What is the purpose? Are they trying to like cut back on funding and now your school doesn't need Title I funding? Yeah.
So that's interesting. Okay. So if you are alarmed like we are, here is who you call. There's the phone number and is that the email address or is the website? But there's all the information on that picture.
The top is
up at the top. It says there's your phone number here.
It's 317-232-9753. And then
that's going to get you to Robert Benning, I believe, who is the author of this 1002.
He is also I'm pretty sure he still is the head of the education committee in the House.
Great. So glad he's got more power there so he can keep hurting us.
He was a florist. That's his trade.
So he's never had any education
background. Yeah.
No pedagogy.
No
pedagogy. Just popular. Yes.
We tried to get Jennifer McCormick in as our governor. She got 41% of the vote, and I'm pretty proud of her, and I really hope she runs again.
Amazing.
We would think how differently things would be right now if she were our governor instead of the governor that wants to dismantle public education. But we're going to keep fighting. We're not going to give up everything. Right. We're going to keep trying. Okay, so the next bill is State Senate Bill 235. No, wait. No, I skipped one. Sorry.
I've got 1136.
Well, 1136. I can't read. So don't blame public education. So yeah, let's do the House Bill 1136. And what is that one about?
That is the one where they are, if you have 50%, if you don't have 50% of enrollment in your school, and there are currently 4 school districts who don't have that enrollment in their school. The other 50% of eligible kids are going to charters or private or homeschooling in their district. Then they will dissolve your school and a charter school will be allowed to come in and take over and purchase that school.
This is a big one. I think this is their plan. I think they want to. I think they want to start small and close a few schools this year, and then next year they want to open it up to more schools, and eventually they're going to go after my kids. Amazing public school.
They're not starting that small. IPS is one of the school districts here mentioned. That's the biggest district in the state, and also Gary. So You see what they're doing, right? They're starting with a couple of big.
I guarantee that 50% that is left in those school buildings are the kids who are left behind. For instance, there's a private school. I was going to enroll my kid in this private school when they were in preschool. It's a great private school in our area, and I've known kids who've tried to apply for that private school and get a voucher. They can get a voucher from the state, but the private school doesn't
The
allow
private school's a
them.
junior down.
They give them a test in math and a test in reading, and if they don't pass the test, they can't come to their
Yeah.
private school.
So these charter private schools can say no to anybody.
And so, yes, behavior, and they also don't accept behavior issues. The
And then
kids I know
special needs. If you have certain special
Yes.
needs that they don't want to take care
they say
of.
we can't facilitate those needs at our school.
Right.
So those 50% of those kids that are left in that school are the kids with sometimes behavior issues, which a lot of times comes from trauma and background and tough backgrounds. They are kids that have learning disabilities. They are kids that are low socioeconomic kids, and they're in tough places. They're the ones who don't have their parents don't have cars or transportation.
The big secret people don't say, and I'm going to tell you from my own experience so you don't think that I'm telling you something fake. I taught at a good school. A lot of wealthy parents sent their kids to this school. When my kid Micah was in 3rd grade, I had the twins, and it was too hard to get him to that school because I only taught a little bit that year. So he went to Morgan for the first time. I'm growing up in this, being an adult, teaching in a private Catholic school, thinking our school's the best. My kid has the whole year at Morgan, 3rd grade. I can't believe it. That school, way better than my former school. And it's not saying that my former school was bad. I'm saying the free public option was a lot better. And I was continuously surprised at how great it was. And now my twins go to kindergarten there. I'm just telling you, even though you're getting these vouchers, it doesn't mean that they're a better school.
I honestly think public school has an edge as far as they pay their teachers more. You're going to get.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they pay their teachers a lot more.
I got paid
$22,000
my first 2 years.
Who taught in private school. So I mean, if you're a teacher, and most teachers, they automatically apply for public schools. I mean, there are teachers that are like, well, I just want to work at a private school.
Because again, you get more choice.
You get more freedom.
And your kids are better behaved because you can.
They're better.
You don't accept the ones that struggle.
Right. So, I mean, but for the most part, higher paying positions, if you're going to be a teacher, you want to go where you're going to make more money for the job you do. So,
and also if you're going to do that job, which is a hard job, you get these people like you, Cara, these exceptional people that love the children so much. You're not in this to be controlled by the government. You're in this because you love those kids and you want to help them in the life.
And I've worked in 3 different school districts in our area, and I am by no means the best teacher in those buildings, and I am by no means I mean, there are just phenomenal teachers in public.
I know so many good teachers, and I'm so thankful for them. Even though they're being attacked by our government, they're still doing this job.
It's disheartening. Yeah.
And we need to be supporting teachers more. I know Karen was talking about some state on the East Coast where the teachers were having a strike. We can't even strike. You all are not allowed to strike. Just so you know, they've weakened the teacher unions in Indiana so much that our teachers can't even strike. And then when they were striking, all of the media and all of the people and the parents were just so supportive of teachers. Whereas here, the message we're getting fed is fake things about teachers and not to trust them. And so there isn't enough public support for our public school teachers. We can all work on that. Those of you watching and listening, we can work on making sure people know those little things they think that are fake. Just say, hey, you were lied to. Those aren't real. These teachers are phenomenal. I'm sure there's a not great teacher every once in a while, but they're not perfect. We're all doing our best, and yeah. Okay. So this one says, this HR 1136 says, 1 in 3 charter schools in Indianapolis alone have closed. That's alarming. Some due to lack of oversight, others to poor educational outcomes, and some because of fraud. Yet this bill would give the state the authority to dissolve public school corporations and force them into charters. This would replace locally elected school boards with state-appointed boards and cut critical services that are essential to vulnerable students. So you take away all the wonderful things about public, you make it a charter. The people that are in control of the charter, which a lot of times are not professionals in education, are in control of your children instead of the public, which accepts everybody. The bus picks the kids up. This is, I don't know, this is one of the scariest ones on the.
I think of all the teachers like myself who've taught it, Indianapolis Public Schools, Gary Public Schools, like taught 24 years. If a charter came in, I'd be on the first bus out of there to preserve my retirement and my thing. I'd go find another job. There's plenty open in this state. So like all those teachers that are there that are probably, if you're working in Indianapolis Public Schools, you probably got it together, honestly, because that's not the easiest district in the state to work in. It's probably tough. And some of those teachers have been there for years and they are killing it. And you're going to run those teachers on the first bus out. And then what are you left with?
Yeah. Tell us what you're showing us, Scott. This looks cool.
I am showing you my website. That's whosleft.us/podcasts, where I spoke to Dr. Michael Schaefer, like a week and a half ago. This is very recent, specifically about this bill 1136, and we spent like an hour just diving in on this bill.
So is that episode 65?
That is episode 65.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you want more information about this, that's a great place. And also follow Scott Aaron Rodgers on his own show, his own podcast, his own YouTube channel, because he is pumping out a lot of stuff to try to save public education. So thanks for showing us that. Okay, let's do the next scary one. Now let's do the one I jumped to. State Senate Bill 235.
235. I'm working on that one here.
It's got a sister bill 289. And then the House bill is very similar, 1496. A lot of times the House and Senate come up with
similar
kind of mirrored bills.
So maybe we can clump all of these. So we're going to clump all of these into this one bill, and they're going to try to pass one of them.
That's what usually what happens, especially when it's always really scary when they start in the Senate and there's a mirrored House bill, because that it's getting driven from both sides. That is scary.
So what does DEI mean?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And that is a big buzzword that they're throwing out on the right to make it sound very scary. But it's not scary. So if everybody can kind of realize that they're trying to fear monger people with that word DEI. Yes, there's a lot of fake things, a lot of fake information floating out there about this that I see. I think it's very painful for you as a teacher to have to deal with.
Yeah, I teach a very diverse group of students, and so the fact that you don't want to recognize their diversity, or the fact that I go in and teach a diverse group of students with a very diverse backgrounds every day. The minority of my children that I teach are white. That's a minority. So I've got kids from China, I've got kids Hispanic kids, I've got all kinds of different kids in my classroom. And I think just you walk in knowing that each one is an individual person and they come with different cultural norms and cultural backgrounds.
I always thought that was fun. Like, I always loved it. I always loved it. I'd have some sweet kids that came from Mexico. And like, I have one that came from Mexico City. And I would I would encourage when she'd go during Christmas to see her family, bring pictures back. We all talk about it. And it would be so fun because I had units where I would talk about the Aztecs. And they would actually go to stuff that, and so you could see her on top of a pyramid that we talk about in social studies. Like, that's fun. It's not scary. Now, I want to stop really fast and just give everybody some good news. Thank you, Greater Indianapolis NAACP. Is that how you say it?
NAACP.
NAACP, sorry. Unit 3053 for commenting. They said that Greater Indianapolis NAACP Education Committee is meeting weekly to organize and push back against these bills. Please consider becoming a member. So we thank you to everybody that is working in this committee, in this group, to try to stop these terrible bills that will hurt so many of our children, regardless of who you vote for. Right. So thank you for being on today, and thank you for saying that. Let's see. And then if you are in the comments, this is on Facebook, you can see more things up now. Here's something that I don't know if we can get that up in our show notes, maybe, Scott. I don't know how to do that, but that seems like they're giving us a website that you can go to become a member or to find out more information. And then they're also talking about this DEI bill that we're seeing right now. They're saying it's straight up racism. They aren't even hiding it anymore.
The one for 235 addresses higher education, which I cannot even imagine them focusing on, colleges and universities where I think it's just trying to tap down on it. I mean, I went to IU and I took some diversity classes, and I took women's courses, studies courses,
and
I
took such a buzzword of fear. It's just a fear thing.
And they're trying to wait for, I would assume that some of these courses and things like that, they're trying to attack those, women's studies or African American studies or Jewish studies. And I mean, those were eye-opening as someone who didn't come from those cultures. I can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine not wanting to learn about the background of other people.
And if you all are scared of some of these, I just want to say, as a teacher, one of my big goals when I taught my 5th graders was to make sure these kids learned about humanity. Just because someone is born in a different religion or a different race, a different country, they're not that different from us. Most people are good. Most people just want to support their families and have a nice life. And it's so fun to teach social studies and history, and when a kid comes in from a different country, to talk about it, because then kids get to see it firsthand and really learn that. And it seems like they're trying to take those experiences away so that we just have fear of other people different than us, different religions, different race, different cultures, different countries. And I would say most teachers, most educated people, most people that know people that are different would say this is not good. I would think most people are on the side of we should teach our children about the world and work together. Okay, so this is
author Gary Byrne too.
Oh, that's our state senator, you guys. Gary Byrne lives here in my county. I've met the man a few times. So he has sponsored a bill, non-discrimination in employment and education. So what is the main thing it's trying to do? Anybody know?
It says requires a school corporation, charter school, state entity, and political division to post on its website.
This is basically the DEI bill for K-12.
That's the K-12 bill. Yeah, 0289. Yeah. So
just a side note about Gary Byrne, just from multiple people telling me about him since he lives around here, he is very scared of books. He makes bills about libraries a lot. And when he was on the school board at North Harrison, he really wanted to get into the libraries and just take out books. He's very scared of diversity,
doesn't want to
pride.
pay public school teachers either, because it's the longest North Harrison had ever gone without signing a contract, because it was like something like 70. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like 7 years. I have a really good friend who was the president of the association at that time, and it was a very disheartening time in North Harrison. A lot of teachers even left because, if we haven't had a contract signed or had a raise in 7 years, it's time to go someplace else. So they lost a lot of quality educators when they did that. So
sad. I've not heard any from all my teacher friends. I have not heard any good things about when he was on school board.
He will not talk to teachers either. I've reached out many times. Karen Engelman will. I will give her that. I have met with her. She doesn't listen, but she talks. She will, or doesn't take it to heart.
She really
said. Gary, I have reached out numerous times, and he will not.
That is weird. So he comes up to me if he sees me in public. He will come up to me, but he tries to convince me how mean the Democrats are to him at the State House when he's up there working. And I was like, really? They're bullying you, person who has a lot of power and making all these bills that are terrible? I thought that was really funny that's the point he was trying to make when the conversation. We were at a veterans gala in Harrison County, and it was a wonderful cause. But I was like, what? That conversation was like so weird to me. Just the manipulation these people think they can do when they talk to you is kind of.
Well,
I keep serving up crap like this, you're gonna get bullied, and you deserve it.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I'm okay if somebody yells at you. Could you please stop attacking public education and libraries? I mean, I'm really sorry for your.
Doesn't like teachers. He won't talk. We've reached out numerous times, and he will not talk to us. But he also, and Gary, if you want to prove me wrong, I'm more than willing to talk at any time and meet with you. You know me. For years I worked at Polly's Freeze, and
I remember.
And I actually owned it for 5 years. And Gary was a great customer, and so I knew him from that. And always a great customer. And he would come up, and so back a couple of years ago at, I guess it's been 2 years ago, Lanesville Heritage, I came up and he was like, "Hey," and and then Karen Engel was standing there and she gave me a hug and she said, "Oh, we'll probably be hearing from Kara soon because she comes up to the State House." And Gary said, "Oh, what do you come up to the State House for?" And she said, "Well, Kara's a teacher." And I mean, the demeanor just changed. He totally demeanor just changed.
And that's what I'm talking about.
We
We should
speak
be
to me after that.
okay.
So.
When you find somebody's a public school teacher, you should be like, "Thank you so much. We love you. How can we support you? What do you need?" That's how we should be acting to our precious public school teachers. Not that. No.
Well,
So,
especially since
cultural change around here.
And I mean, like I said, Karen's always been very
Yeah, but
pleasant. She doesn't listen to me, but she and take anything to heart. Or
I went hard on that issue when I ran against her for State House.
I know.
And the one time I did see her and I spoke and then she spoke, I talked about public education and she got up and spoke about how great school choice is. So I know how she feels on that issue. So I'm glad that she'll speak to you
well,
about
she'll
it.
speak to me, but like I said, she
Yeah.
actually looked at me right in the face and said, "Public school teachers are teaching children to hate America." That was her exact words. So that was
And I think she
disheartening.
believes that.
I think she did.
I think she believes
I think
it.
she believed it. So, but yeah, she will speak to me. She will meet with me. She will.
And to shout out to Jama, who said, yes, teachers need all the love. Jama is a former teacher and she ran for school board. And she's one of the people, Scott, that was attacked on that school board text message we talked about a couple episodes ago. Love you, Jama.
And when I go up and spend my days teaching or going up to the legislature, I do it because it's so important. But Sarah wanted me to mention this, but I have to take a personal day. That's one of my days that I don't have to take off my kids. I take a personal day and also hours of sub planning and getting things together so that my kids are taken care of when I leave. So that's hard. And I think it's that important.
And you're taking time away from your classroom. You're taking time away from your family, which I am too. I'm taking time away from my family to film this episode. I would much rather be spending time with them, but I'm too scared for public education in Indiana.
And in essence, it is for your family.
So I'm fighting.
Kids all are public school kids.
We're fighting for our children. But we'd rather be at home with our children.
Right.
But instead, we have to try to call out their crap and hope that it doesn't get passed and hurt our children.
Right.
So, we have to help them in a different
long game.
We got to play the long game. Yeah. So thank you to everybody that also spends their free time. Scott, this is your free time on a Saturday and you're doing this to help us. And I mean, it's work. It's hard. It's not like it doesn't impact us. Right. I can't believe Cara had time for us because just being a teacher is very busy. Plus she has kids. She had a kid's birthday party. She had a baby shower.
I gave a baby shower this morning.
I mean,
my best friend's going to be a grandma.
Very determined here. That's you. Okay, let's do two more bills while we've got time here. We've got State Senate Bill 441, gender marker. What is that? And let's hope it doesn't pass.
This one.
Okay, so this is
Gary Byrne.
Oh my gosh.
And this one breaks my heart. So it says define sex and gender for the purposes of Indiana code. Definition of sex and gender are meant to be synonymous in the Indiana code unless specifically defined otherwise. It says require the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and the Indiana Department of Health to update the definition of sex used by the agencies. Requires the state departments to identify birth certificates issued with a sex change classification by court order and change the sex on the birth certificate back to the originating sex and reissue the birth certificate. Wow.
So it's just to hurt anybody that's transgender.
Yes.
And that is a huge fear in Harrison County. A lot of people that I talk to that follow right-wing media they think transgender people got the they're just out here with weapons just terrorizing the town. And I'm always like, do you know a single transgender person and are they hurting you? But they've really, they are so scared of people that are transgender. I met a woman on the street or at Buffalo Trace Park that worked at Morgan that said, she wasn't a teacher, but she said, I hear those teachers are telling a girl that they could be a boy and a boy that they could be a girl. And I'm like, that is not happening. No teacher is saying that.
No.
And the fear of the transgender has really hurt public education. They're so smart. Gary Byrne, you're so smart in making these fear words in here, acting like you're protecting us.
And I don't know why someone else's personal life, how that affects anyone else. Why are we making laws to the party of freedom, they call themselves, and they're dictating what happens in somebody's personal life? And I think that is so wrong. My brother is transgender. My brother-in-law is transgender. So and they live in Florida, but which is just as bad almost. But he literally fears for his life sometimes. He goes to the wrong restroom in Florida. He can be, I
have a cousin that's transgender, and she lives in the East Coast, and I fear for her life. When these people spread these fake fears, it could lead to actual violence against our family members that we love. Yeah. And I know what it comes from.
Who's a father of 5 kids?
I know what it comes from. You're terrified your kid is going to be pushed on this, and you're terrified your own kid is going to be transgender, and you just need to calm down. It's not being pushed upon at the public school.
No.
But I do have friends that are parents to kids that are struggling with their gender, and how scared they are because they want their kid to just be happy with their gender because they're attacking them, and they love their kid more than anything in the whole world. So
we just need people to be safe. Safety of children, safety of adults comes before physical safety, comes before your worry about how somebody else is living inside their house. I don't understand.
So they're using this to put fear about public education, and they were saying, well, in a charter school, this won't be allowed. You won't have to worry about any of this. No teachers are going to say, but teachers are not saying these things. Teachers are not saying.
Do we have kids that come and say, oh, I have 2 moms. Yeah. And we say, okay, everybody's family's different. That's how that's the end of it. And that's gone.
Maybe we shouldn't judge people. Maybe we should just care about them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
but they and I think they did this last year.
And I say, yeah.
This is a friend of mine, Misty, said a great comment. We are being bombarded from every angle right now. It's paralyzing sometimes to not know which fight to fight first. I think donating to organizations like NAACP, ACLU, the Mind Trust, etc., will be the most effective in these early days. Also get some cute winter boots. That's cute, Misty. I think her general thing, what she's saying is so true. This is stressful. I'm stressed out about it. What can I do? Well, you reached out and said you wanted to talk about it, and I invited you on my show, and you told me when you were free, and you drove all the way over here, and we're doing this show. Right. When I get done with this show, I'm going to push it out on all my social media, and then I'm going to shut the computer, and I'm going to go be with my kids. Yeah. Because I'm trying.
I know.
I can't just stay home and have anxiety and be upset and being hopeless. I have to fight. So what Misty is saying is, let's donate to the organizations that are fighting. And that's the best thing they do. They need support. And yes, that is so true. And that is one of the reasons why I'm starting this new independent media company with Tim Peck. I'm trying to bridge the gap. We need better local media. We need to stop fighting. We need to call out the bad and say, what do we do to stop it? Don't lose hope. This is sort of a depressing topic, but you watching it helps a lot. Oh, I didn't know the cute winter boots trend. Thanks, Scott. I did not know that. So they use that phrase.
You talk, you say cute winter boots on TikTok apparently when you're talking about resisting the Trump administration, so you don't get throttled for talking about it.
And then she put, if you know, you know. So now that makes more sense. Thanks, Missy.
Now I know.
Now we know. I wanted me to get cute winter boots.
I know. I was like, yeah, cute winter. Yeah, sure. It was like something positive. That's so funny. Okay, so thanks, Missy. And thanks for finding that. Okay, last one. State Senate Bill 257, censorship, which this is the party that says they're for free speech. So what are they trying to do here? Spencer Deary. I don't know that senator. Let's see.
And I'll tell you what, I can read it so you guys don't have to squint because I can see it better on my screen. But
old eyes.
But this requires certain instruction or discussion to 1, incorporate the universal principles of the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution of the United States, and 2, foster a national identity, heritage, and culture established by an aspiration to certain shared principles. Prohibits certain instruction or discussion from fostering a national identity, heritage, or cultural that is contrary to shared principles. So it sounds like, if I'm reading this correctly, you have to teach civics and history in this country in a very narrow way. You can't talk about maybe when we haven't lived up to our stated principles or been our best. You can't be honest about the history of this country.
So it's with a positive spin about how great America is, which a great America, women didn't get the right to vote till 1922 years before my grandma was born.
The continent was empty. We didn't genocide all those people.
In my classroom, I want them to know that we are so lucky to have the right to vote. We had to fight for it.
Yeah.
And then I taught 5th grade U.S. history.
Yeah.
A big chunk of that is Native Americans, Indians. And it's very sad, and it's an important lesson to learn so that we don't hurt communities that we fear. It teaches that lesson that we shouldn't ever do that again.
Right.
So if we are putting on a positive spin, we're like, yay, they killed all these Native Americans who lived here first because we're scared of them.
The civil rights movement in the South in the 60s. I mean, there's no positive spin on, when we learn about Ruby Bridges, who is still alive.
Yeah,
Ruby
Bridges,
and the first grader walks into school, and the people outside the school are.
She thought she was being poisoned in her lunches.
Wow, and they were giving death threats. They had coffins made
up. She was
a
little black girl, and she was integrated into a white school. For those of you who don't know about Ruby Bridges, she's still alive.
Yeah, she's a couple years younger than my mother.
Oh wow,
right. Yeah, she's still actively.
So speaking. I think you learn about history so that you don't repeat it. Yeah. Like World War II, we learn about that horrible story so we don't repeat it. So I think we can all agree that this is terrible, and I just feel so censored, and I feel like you are so restricted. You're this brilliant, wonderful educator who loves their children you're teaching. You know how to teach them best, and it's just every year Indiana government is just stripping away some of your freedom to teach, and they're saying, you use all these beautiful tools. How about just this many?
Right.
And how are we going to keep getting quality teachers into our education system in Indiana if we keep treating them this way? And we have to stop sometime. So we have a governor that doesn't support public education, and we have these bad bills. We can fight the bills. In 4 years, we can work the entire 4 years to get the word out about public education so that we elect a better governor in 4 years. That is our choice.
We've had total party control for what, 20 years, 20 plus years, and it is showing. I think, and I'm not saying like, oh, let's just all elect Democrats. I think it just has to be a balance of both. People who care, and on both sides. So it's just gonna have to take everybody.
And I'm just putting this back up here on the screen. Sorry, so you can see what numbers you need to call, what emails you need to send things to. And how, like a template for contacting your legislators in Indianapolis and how to talk to them about opposing these bills, because they do, even if they are not inclined to support your position, they can't ignore a lot of calls.
So we're going to keep growing here at Project Next Media. We've just started. We're having a giant live on Tuesday, January 28th. This coming Tuesday from 5 to 10. All 4 of the content creators are going to be on, and we're going to interview a bunch of wonderful community members. It's going to be very uplifting and hope building. So please join us for that. And I would like to invite you in a few months after we've grown and we have an even bigger audience. I would like you to come back, and I would like you to just talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of teaching.
Sure.
Because I feel like something we can do with you being willing to come on these live shows, which is very brave and awesome of you. We can show our community that cares about our children and about education what we can keep doing to show support to you and your other teachers.
Okay.
So
good.
Please join us on Tuesday. We're starting at 6. We're starting at 5. At 6 o'clock, we're going to have my good friend Pam with Senior Paws Rescue, and we're going to get to see her dog. She's going to introduce us to the 19 dogs that she has in her house that she rescues. They're 10 or older. She keeps them in her house and gives them the best care. We're going to have Dan Cannon on. We're going to have Sean Bostock, Elmer from Hey Elmer that has his own business, and tons more people I can't think of right now. And you guys, let's do this. Let's do this. And please share, subscribe. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Follow us in all the places. And thank you, Cara.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Scott. Love you both. Thanks for doing this. Let's keep fighting for our kids.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Well.